Mini Test 3.
1. This summer was so hard for my family, with my mother's illness and all those problems at Ben's work. But one good thing came out of it all, and that was the strengthening of my friendship with you. You were the only bright spot in a dark time in our lives. Every time you offered to watch the baby, or brought a hot dinner, or a pot of coffee, I felt like some of my burden was lifted. I can't describe in words how much your help meant to me. Please know that I won't forget your kindness or your friendship.
Two. What is the difference between a hospital and a hospice? In a hospital, patients hope that they will get better. But in a hospice, patients know that they are going to die. Doctors do not try to cure them, nor do they help them die sooner. Instead, they try to make life as comfortable as possible for those terminally ill patients. They offer them drugs to control their pain, but patients can choose whether to take them or not. Hospices are usually located in pleasant locations and have a strong, friendly community. Relatives can visit at any time of day or night, and pets can visit too. Nurses, specialist staff, and trained volunteers help patients and their families cope through this sad and difficult time. Within a hospice, life goes on for the dying.
Three. Many of my friends are good tennis players, and for ages I would join them for a game. But the truth is that I have no real interest in tennis. Whenever I played, I felt miserable and frustrated. Although I went along to be sociable, I never had a good time, and I don't think I was very good company for my friends either. Finally, I realized that I was going against my own inner nature, and my actions were causing unnecessary unhappiness. From then on, I stopped playing tennis and did my own thing instead. The time I spent pursuing my own hobbies was far more enjoyable and enriching.
4. Ice wine is a rare treat, even for people who drink a lot of fine wines. It is only produced in a few countries because it requires cold and predictable winter weather. Ice wine production also involves a lot of risk. Basically, to make ice wine, the grapes are not harvested until after the first frost. The frost freezes the water in the grape and makes the wine much sweeter than ordinary wines. However, if the first frost comes too late in the season, the grapes will turn bad while still on the vine. Even if the frost comes on time, a large labor force is needed to pick the whole crop within a few hours, with just a few hours' notice. Because so few countries around the world have the right climate and enough workers, ice wine is generally expensive.
5. Traditional Korean houses typically have an inner wing, anche, and an outer wing, sarangche. The two wings are used for different purposes, depending on the wealth of the family. Aristocrats used the outer wing to entertain visitors, while the poor people kept their farm animals in this section. Inside the inner wing, there was a central hall with a wooden floor. Other rooms were built around the hall, including a living room and a kitchen. The larger homes of wealthier families had more rooms in the inner wing. However, it was forbidden for anyone, except for the king, to have a home bigger than 99 kan. A kan is the distance between two pillars in a traditional Korean home. The homes were made from wood, stone, and clay, and their roofs were made of thatch. As most of these materials degrade over time, few old buildings have survived into present times.
6. In 1910, Branch Rickey was a coach for the American football team at Ohio Wesleyan University. That year, his team traveled to Indiana for a match. The hotel manager checked in the team, but refused to allow a black player, Charlie Thomas, to stay in the hotel. In those days, few black players played in college teams. Rickey told the manager that he would move the whole team to another hotel unless the black athlete was given a room. Sadly, however, Ricky knew that the other hotels would have refused to accommodate Charlie as well. So Ricky came up with an idea. He suggested that a cot be put in his own room for Charlie Thomas to sleep on. The hotel manager reluctantly agreed. This is just one example of how Branch Rickey tried to break down the color barrier in American sports.
Seven. Every year, a survey is conducted to find out what makes people happy in life. And every year, the same result comes out on top. The people who are happiest in life are happy in their jobs. But what makes people happy at work? High salaries, good work relationships, or something else? What's more, how can you compare the happiness you get from a good salary to the happiness you get from good relationships at work? Well, some researchers at a Canadian university have done just that. They studied life satisfaction surveys, paying special attention to the things that make people happy at work. They used this information to work out how much these happiness factors are worth in money terms. For example, they found out that having trust in your company's management gives employees the same amount of happiness as a 36% pay rise. Therefore, if a company wants to have a happy and loyal workforce, it should pay close attention to how it manages the business and its staff.
Eight to 10. Chris had a bad temper. All sorts of things made him angry. Poor grades, doing housework, going to bed early, and getting up early. Finally, his father could take it no longer. He gave his son a bag of nails and told him that every time he lost his temper, he had to hammer a nail into the garden fence. The first day, Chris didn't do very well. He got mad when his sister took his pen, and he got mad when his dog left a dirty footprint on his homework. That evening, there were 6 new nails in the fence. Over time, however, he learned to control his anger, and the number of nails hammered daily gradually decreased. Finally, the day came when he didn't lose his temper at all. Feeling rather pleased with himself, Chris told his father. His dad suggested that the boy now pull 1 nail out of the fence for each day that he was able to hold his temper. The days passed, and within a few weeks, Chris could tell his dad that all the nails were gone. Chris's father was pleased that his idea had been a success. The house was certainly more peaceful now. He stood by the fence with his son and said, "You have done well, Chris, but look at the holes in the fence. The fence will never be the same. When you say things in anger, they always leave a scar, just like these ones."